Welcome to I Feel Fat Today, the show where we dispel diet myths, see what's new in diet culture, and investigate your relationship with food. My name's Kelly Taylor, and I'm your host. All right. Subscribe to us on YouTube, where we have full video episodes like the one you're watching right now. Go ahead, subscribe. Helps get the word out about the show and helps us grow. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, where you can give a 5-star review. The more you do that, the more reviews we have, the more people can find us. And follow us on Instagram at I Feel Fat Today. You can also follow me, your host, at Hello, This is Kelly. You can also send us an email if you want some advice to ifeelfattoday@gmail.com. And finally, tell your friends about the show. If you're listening to this and you like it, pass it over to a friend that you think might enjoy it as well. Okay, that's my spiel. I have a quick article it's an opinion piece to read before I intro over to today's guests. And what I liked about this opinion piece was it touched on male body image, which is something that I discussed with this week's guest, because it is in this, body positive, body neutrality space. Men are sort of left out of that conversation. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube and it looks like I'm a serial killer because of how crazy, dusty, and smudged my glasses are, please know I am aware. I really need new glasses. Okay, so this opinion piece is from the Commonwealth Times, and it is titled "The Price of Perfection: The Body Image Crisis." Imagine losing 100 pounds in just 4 months. Some may say this is a miraculous change. It highlights a troubling trend in our society. With new drugs making weight loss seem effortless, we need to confront an important reality. These quick fixes are changing how we see ourselves and our worth. The rise of medications like Ozempic have sparked discussions about body image. Originally intended for medical reasons, their use for weight loss raises serious questions about our relationship with bodies. These shifts blur the line between what's necessary for health and what's purely for appearance. While these drugs can help some people, their use for cosmetic reasons reflects deeper struggles with self-acceptance. Instead of improving body image, these drugs often make individuals feel worse about themselves. This can create a cycle of unhealthy habits and a distorted view of self-worth. Relying on quick fixes makes finding healthier, lasting ways to feel good about ourselves harder. The rising use of drugs to change weight is linked to societal pressures and unrealistic beauty standards, leading many to think they must look a certain way to be accepted or successful. These pressures are especially strong for women, making some wrongfully believe that medical interventions are necessary. The constant flow of before and after photos on social media distorts self-image and can lead to body dysmorphia, fueling an unhealthy obsession with perfection. This comparison cycle makes it even harder to truly feel good about who you are. Men experience similar pressures as the ideal male body, muscular and lean, can be just as unrealistic. Many men resort to steroids and other shortcuts, complicating their body image issues. Body dysmorphia can affect anyone, and using weight loss and muscle-building drugs can worsen insecurities. Many celebrities use steroids to meet the demanding expectations of their roles. Actors like Sylvester Stallone have admitted to using human growth hormone, or HGH, during training, illustrating how the pressure to look a certain way can lead people to take shortcuts. This pursuit of the ideal body can lead to feelings of inadequacy and an obsession with appearance, even for those who seem successful. The pressure to meet unrealistic standards sends a harmful message that self-worth depends on looks. The influence of celebrities and social media figures amplifies this pressure. For example, Nikocado Avocado, known for his large mukbangs, lost 250 pounds in 2 years, raising both admiration and skepticism. While some celebrate his journey, others question whether he used Ozempic or similar drugs for such rapid results. Celebrity weight loss can confuse people, making it difficult to tell what is realistic and healthy from what is just for show. Instead of inspiring us, these transformations increase the pressure we feel, leading to dissatisfaction and creating a culture where our worth is based on our appearance. To combat body dysmorphia, we need to move away from quick fixes like Ozempic or steroids and focus on healthier, sustainable habits. These drugs may promise fast results, but they can come with serious mental and physical risks. Instead of chasing rapid weight loss or muscle gain, we should focus on balanced eating, regular exercise, and mental well-being. A key part of this shift involves creating supportive communities that can celebrate different bodies and encourage one another. Activities like group workouts or workshops can promote body positivity and remind us that everyone's journey is unique. These efforts help people feel more comfortable in their own skin and foster a healthier mindset about body image. When we prioritize health over appearance, we foster healthier relationships with our bodies. Building self-acceptance and promoting healthy lifestyles can help everyone feel more confident and authentic. Okay, so again, that was an opinion piece, and it's titled The Price of Perfection, The Body Image Crisis. And the reason why I wanted to read this on the pod to open up the episode was because, yes, it touched on, body dysmorphia and its effect on men, but it also referred to drugs like Ozempic as a quick fix, which I found to be interesting because I think that a majority of people do consider weight loss medications, weight loss surgeries, any kind of medical intervention as a, quote, quick fix. And I guess sort of if you're not really investigating what am I trying to say? I think most can perceive medical intervention for weight loss as a quick fix unless you're somebody that is using medical intervention. I don't think you would necessarily call it a quick fix. And I may even refer to it as a quick fix, conversationally. But I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think that it's a different avenue to lose weight, but it's not truly a quick fix, because if it was such a quick fix, then you wouldn't have to deal with the fallout of going down that road, right? So if you want to pursue going on Ozempic, you have to find a way to get your hands on Ozempic. And I know that there's, sort of agencies, companies out there that will do online telehealth situations where you can then pay a flat rate and get the weight loss medication of choice, delivered over to you, which for some people that's great. But I still don't necessarily see that as a quick fix. When this opinion piece talks about it not necessarily being sustainable, now that I agree with, because I'm pretty certain that anyone, at least that I know, that has gone on a weight loss medication has gained the weight back. There are people that get weight loss surgery done and keep the weight off. Not everybody, but people can do that. But from what I've seen, from what I just, anecdotally, it seems like when someone goes off of the Ozempic, they gain the weight back and then some. Some people end up being heavier than where they started. But I'm not saying that this is villainizing weight loss medications entirely, but I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to villainize or think that someone is an other if they go on a weight loss medication. Because if you're someone, let's say you are 400 pounds, and it just feels like you are past the point of being able to diet and exercise your way out of the corner that you've painted yourself into. I think a semaglutide is a really excellent avenue for you to go down to learn how to get yourself out of the corner that you've backed yourself into and now weighing 400 pounds. But because that's apparent that there is some obvious education needing to happen there. Do you not realize that you're eating at a level that is causing you to gain so much weight? Is there something mentally happening? Are we dealing with a binge eating disorder? I think that's where referring to Ozempic as a quick fix isn't necessarily fair. Now, if you're someone like me, who can definitely, society would look at me and say she can definitely lose 50 pounds. I think someone like me going on Ozempic isn't necessarily the best course of action, because once I go off of it, who's to say I have the tools and abilities to stay off of it and keep that weight off. So that's just something about this that I wanted to touch on. But in terms of what is happening societally across the board with more and more and more people using any sort of weight loss intervention, the most readily available one being Ozempic for men, HGH. It's causing all of us to look at to kind of walk back the progress that was being made in the body acceptance space. And I came across this really fantastic TikTok a few days ago in which this girl talked about how when Ashley Graham, plus size Sports Illustrated model, was introduced to the modeling world, she was introduced obviously as a plus size woman. She may have been the first plus size woman on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover. And she was seen as a fat woman. And because of models like Ashley Graham, bigger models were being published and companies were working with bigger women. And so society at large got to see that women come in all shapes and sizes. And then I think recently she was in the Victoria's Secret fashion show that was put on pause for many years, I think about 4 years, and it just came back. And Ashley Graham walked in that show. And she was seen as a bigger woman. But in the space in between us as society, us first learning about Ashley Graham as a large woman to where we perceive her now as a large woman, in that space in between when we were introduced to more plus size women, plus size models, people of different abilities, ethnicities, what have you, gender identities, the list goes on. Ashley Graham wasn't necessarily seen as a larger woman, because by comparison, we could see that there are models that are of a heavier set. And I thought that was such an interesting take, because I do recall there being a moment of being in this, body acceptance space of people saying, well, Ashley Graham's not even a fat woman. But she was perceived as a fat woman when she came onto the scene. And now society does see her as a fat woman. And I really think that the inception of readily available weight loss medications causing Americans to shrink down, just talking about Americans here, it is changing the way we perceive what is fat and what isn't fat, and why we're going so much closer to the late 90s or 90s, early 2000s ideals of what thin is, and heroin chic being the ideal body type. So, yeah, I don't know. That was a little just something I was thinking about that I wanted to sort of brain dump. And I don't think I have anything else to say about that. As far as talking about the Victoria's Secret fashion show more, I don't really feel like it. I'm so over it. I don't care. I have nothing to say about the Victoria's Secret fashion show. If you like it, love it. If you don't, cool. All right. Yeah. Okay. We're going to bring on this week's guest. My guest for this week is a very funny comedian. I've known him for a few years now. I believe we started comedy around the same time. We had a really great conversation about sobriety, as he is over a year sober at this point, just over a year. And we talked about male body dysmorphia and just the complicated relationship that can be. It's a really great conversation. I hope you stick around to listen to it. Please welcome to the show this week, stand-up comedian Bo Ballew. All right, here we are with Bo Ballew.
Hello.
Everyone. Amazing. Bo, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Texas.
Texas.
I was born in Florida. And I lived
Okay.
there in Orlando and Miami, but I went to like middle school and high school in Texas.
Okay.
So I claim Texas.
Yeah, totally. Makes sense. Okay, so most of your life is Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least like the really formative teen years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, when you were in school, did you do sports or anything?
When I was like all elementary school and up through 9th grade, I like deluded myself into thinking I was an athlete. You know.
You really tried to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like a professional baseball player. I really wanted to be good at sports. And I wasn't bad at sports, but I wasn't good at sports. Like I was a C team football.
Uh-huh.
And I was very good for C team. But the second I played like B team reps or something, I got
demolished.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally. Do you have any brothers, or is it just sisters?
I'm a middle child.
Oh,
I have
you
an
are?
older sister, younger brother.
Oh, okay. I'm a middle child as well.
Oh,
Older
nice.
brother,
I knew I
younger
felt
brother.
a kinship.
Yeah. Yeah, we're the misunderstood crop.
I always give my parents shit about the middle child thing,
Yeah.
and they get so offended every time. They're like, we treated you the same. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's still, I'm in the middle, you know?
Yeah, I'm stuck in the middle. Okay. So, you were always trying to be an athlete. So were you like a fat kid? Like, what was that story?
I think I thought I was fatter than I was. Like I don't.
Old as time.
Oh yeah, body dysmorphia and all
Yeah.
that. I had like a buddy in middle school, and our bit was that we called ourselves like the fat kids, so we ran like kind of owning it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think people weren't that into the bit, but we just were like, oh, we're like taking the power back of something that like just like body dysmorphic. Like,
yeah.
You know.
I feel like you also have like your face shape is round.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like when you have a round face, you automatically think you're fat.
100%.
You know?
100%. And if most of my 20s have been spent gaining and losing 40 pounds. Like, I don't know how to like maintain weight, but whenever I like start gaining weight, it shows in my face first.
Same.
Yeah.
And whenever I lose weight too, I know like I'm losing weight when I'm losing it in my face. Like 100%. Yeah, that's so funny. Like when you are someone that has never had a consistent weight, we are the kind of people that have lost like probably cumulatively hundreds of pounds.
100%. Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's like, how many times am I going to gain and lose the same X amount of pounds?
I wish like I just like could figure out like even if it's bigger or smaller, like just like to be like, all right, this is just what I weigh.
This is it.
You know,
Totally.
like I don't like I don't have to keep buying new clothes and all that shit, or like just tie
Yeah.
my belt as tight as possible because I don't want to buy new clothes because what if I put the weight back on, you know?
I know. And then that psychologically in your closet becomes such a mess
Uh-huh.
of like clothes that fit, clothes that don't fit. So what were sort of some of your methods in like throughout your 20s gaining and losing that weight? Were you like conscious of it when it was happening?
Yeah. The first time I was like a sophomore in college when I first like actually started doing it, and that was just straight up eating disorder, like disordered eating shit,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
Like I was prescribed Adderall and I was taking Adderall so I wouldn't eat, and I was like going to the gym, like overworking out, like because I wasn't eating that much, and I was like a vegetarian, but I wasn't like
yeah.
to like lose weight, you know, like so
Yeah.
I wasn't like I was malnourished and not. I see like photos of myself that I'm like, oh my god.
When you were in college, did you live on campus?
My freshman year, I did.
Okay, so but like you like live at mom and dad's or like live like basically what I'm getting at is like when you are in college and you have a meal plan, it is so easy to have disordered eating because you can go to like the trough of food in the cafeteria and
Yeah.
like only get the grilled chicken.
Oh,
You know?
100%.
Yeah.
And like my freshman year, I definitely like was like put on the freshman 15 or whatever,
Mhm.
because the school I went to a different school my freshman year than I did the rest of college. And my freshman year, the school had like a Panda Express and a Chick-fil-A
Oh,
and all
wow.
that stuff on campus, and I could use my meal plan.
Yeah.
So I was
Recipe
like,
for disaster.
oh my god, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was awesome though.
Do you think you're an emotional eater?
I don't know if it's necessarily tied to like an emotion. I do like now that I don't drink, eating has been like a big like treat kind of
Reward
thing. Like it's
system.
definitely my vice
Yeah,
now.
for sure.
And I think I don't know, maybe that like goes back to like feeling like I've earned it or something.
Totally.
But I don't know if it's like necessarily like, oh, I'm having a bad day, I want to eat, or I'm having a particularly good day, I want to
Yeah.
eat, you know.
Totally. Okay. So, rewind a little bit. When you were in college, the first time you wanted to lose weight, straight up disordered eating, which like, especially in a man, that's not identified.
No one talks about it.
That is not identified.
I used to have a bit about it. It was I was far too early in comedy to try and tackle a bit about having an eating disorder. But it was like the hardest part of being a man with an eating disorder is that you're a man with an eating disorder. Like no one talks about. No one.
But like you're
talks
still a
about it.
person with a body, and that is inherently uncomfortable. So like for some reason, it's always just been this thing that affects women. And even when I talk about it on the podcast, I tend to say like, as a woman, as women, it's like. And men too. Like,
Yeah.
lest we forget about the men that hate their bodies.
I mean, I feel like with women, it's probably more like systemically ingrained
very
in
true.
the
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
So that's like a huge difference, I think. But like with, like at least with me, it's like it's also there. Like I felt like held to like the impossible standards of like a Marvel superhero. Like I remember
Totally.
doing like Thor workouts and
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I mean?
So I'm curious because drinking is something that you've given up. Is it 1 year today?
Last week.
Last
so
week,
it's a
okay.
year and a week.
A year and a week. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very admirable. But I'm curious, when you were in this like disordered eating, like, you know, just doing these crazy workouts, not eating, being vegetarian just for the diet of it all, but did you curtail your drinking at all?
Not even remotely.
Not even a little bit.
I remember like being drunk and like taking creatine and shit.
And it's like a surefire way to gain weight is drinking.
Yeah. I was like, I'll cut food.
Oh my god, I remember doing Weight Watchers with my girlfriends. And
Oh
we
yeah,
would, like,
I've been there.
You've done it. Yeah, we're in the club. In the club, we're all fam. The Weight Watchers Club. No, it would be like 4 points or something, I think, for like a 6-ounce glass of wine. And I remember my girlfriends and I like not using olive oil when we cooked shrimp for our Weight Watchers meal because we wanted to
that was
save
your
the points for the wine. So insane.
Yeah, like I think like the last time I did Weight Watchers was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And like I think like a Miller Lite was like 7 points, and like calculating that in and like that kind of stuff. But really, like when I was drinking, it was like a week's worth of points we're going to booze in a day.
100%.
You know, so it was like a fallacy, you know, that I was
Mhm.
even like pretending to like save points for a beer at a mic or whatever.
Yeah, like you famously do love a shot beer combo.
Uh-huh.
So your phone is just pre-saving the amount of points. Like when you go to put in a beverage, like shot plus beer, 12 points.
I probably was like being dishonest about the shot because like even when I was drinking, I was like, yeah, but a beer shot's 1 drink. It's not 2, you
Right.
know?
I know, and that's the thing about alcohol. It's like the calories per macro in alcohol is kind of doubled because it's like whatever the alcohol is plus the sugar.
Oh,
So
sure.
like a Jack and Coke, or not even just a Jack and Coke, like whiskey. For like whiskey is like X amount of calories, and then like all the sugar that goes into whiskey is an additional calorie. So
okay.
that's why alcohol is so high in caloric value. And then you have like, you know, putting it with a soda or something that makes it just like, oh man, really.
What
really
do you
feeling
drink
it.
when you drink?
I mostly do wine, which is like so high in calorie.
Yeah.
Or tequila.
Tequila, like
Yeah.
tequila soda or
Tequila,
something.
soda, and lime.
And like red wine?
White wine.
White wine.
Literally,
what kind?
Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay. You're not a Chardonnay yet. You're not like
No, I'm not
that's
at the-
mom stuff.
That's mom style for sure.
Why
for
is
sure.
that? You know, like
I
it's
don't
like
know.
every mom drinks Chardonnay.
I know.
And so I'm like, who's when does that happen to people?
I think it's you just need you need to drink something that feels like a warm hug.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
Uh-huh.
A buttery Chardonnay goes best with like a steamy romance novel.
Oh, sure.
My moms
yeah.
are off the shard. What was I going to say? Something about drinking. Oh, and asking me what I drink, tequila soda with lime. That's literally what I see skinny women drink.
Oh, sure.
So that's why I'm drinking that.
When I started like when I was drinking in college and I was like on my weight shit, I was doing like gin and tonics because it seemed like a healthier drink.
Been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, gin and tonics, and then like more recent times I was trying to lose weight and drinking like vodka sodas or like tequila sodas or something.
Yeah, totally. Because that you don't feel guilty about. Like whiskey mentally, automatically think that's higher in caloric value. Don't know if that's at all true, but mentally I think whiskey just is more calories than tequila. And I feel like you can't really do a whiskey soda. You have to do like a whiskey Coke. So it's like clear liquors are easier to pair with just like straight up seltzer and a fruit.
100%. 100%. Unless if you just like really like whiskey like that.
Right, right. Some people are whiskey people.
Mhm.
Yeah. I probably at some point in my life have totally pretended to like whiskey.
Oh, sure.
To be that girl.
Yeah,
you know?
It's so like you're so different.
So cool. So down.
Yeah,
So down.
You really aren't like other girls, are you?
I know. Yeah. Thank God for the internet being like, you know what a pick-me girl is? And me being like, I do all those things. Yes. So what's so funny about you no longer drinking is I feel like we're kind of on a journey of cutting back drinking before completely cutting it off.
Oh, yeah, for years, yeah.
And I remember this was a few months before you totally were like, okay, I'm no longer drinking. We were on the subway coming back from a show or something. Me, you, and someone else. I forget who we were speaking with. But we were talking about drinking. And you were like, yeah, I'm trying to cut back on drinking. I told myself, no more beer shot combos. When you were cutting out the beer shot combo, that was the step before you fully just stopped drinking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think beer shot combos are truly the reason I had to stop drinking. I think
You just you're a man that loves a deal.
Yeah, like 100%. So it was like I for like at least a year, I was like, I can't do a shot every time I drink
Have
a beer. And
kind
like,
of insane.
yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. If you have 6 beers, that's 12 drinks.
Yep.
It's crazy. That's so much alcohol. And I spent so much time being like, all right, no more beer shots. And then when you're out, it was like, well, it's $1. You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
such a big deal.
I know it is. Living in New York City, it's hard to pass up a deal anyways.
100%.
I mean, living anywhere, because everywhere is expensive. But
Yeah.
like, we've lived in the city a while. Like, it is hard to pass up a deal. Like, and so I totally get the beer shot combo. But it, most people do it to like start their night, or like when they're kind of twisted at the end of the night,
Yeah.
like kind of like going a little bit hard towards the end before they go home. It was just, but for every drink.
Oh
it
yeah,
was
I'd
beer
be
shot
on,
combo.
like I remember being on like dates with girls, and we'd be at like a dive bar or something, and like beer shot combos would come up, and she'd be like, I love beer shot combos. I'd be like, that's so hot. And then she'd be like,
My wife.
yeah, honestly. She'd be like, yeah, I usually do like one like halfway through the night with my friends. I was like, what? One? That's crazy.
Honey, I need to give you a course on financial literacy.
Yeah.
Like, what? Oh, man. So, given that you no longer drink, there's been an obvious change in your physique. And how do you feel about that?
I do feel good about it, because I mean, when I quit drinking, I quit drinking because I needed to, but also it was like a health thing. Like I was having like issues where my body was just like, I can't keep doing this, essentially.
Like you would wake up in pain kind of thing, or you went to the doctor and they were like chill?
Went to the doc, like gout, cholesterol, all that kind of stuff.
Old man problems.
Yeah, like in my 20s. And it was like,
Yeah.
I can't keep going like this. I don't, like, when I think back on it, I'm like, all that, I was like, I don't know how long I would have lived. Like, I'm not saying I'd be dead now, but I think, like, if I kept going, it would have taken years off my life.
Wow.
So, I quit drinking, and then initially it was like pint ice cream every time I left the apartment type thing, because it was like, oh, like I need to do whatever I can do, and if that's getting a little treat, and I still do that like on the weekends if I'm out like at a party or something on the way home. I'm like, I'm gonna get a pint of ice cream because now's my time to like lock in.
And I
know?
feel like that's like I've heard that about sobriety is like whatever you can do to not drink. If that means eating a ton of sweets, then that's your journey right now. You're just eating a ton of sweets.
And then I hit a point where I was like, well, I don't want to have to quit ice cream.
Yeah.
Too, I was like, I can't, after a certain point, it's like I've quit drinking long enough to where it's like I can't use it as an excuse to justify all this other shit. So I was like, and like with like all the like body dysmorphia and stuff, I was like, now would be a good time to get in good shape. I might as well. So then I started to, I've approached it very differently this time than I have in the past, but it was like a conscious attempt at like trying to get in better shape.
That's great. I feel like also the aspect of trying to get into better shape like is so good for your mental, which is what you need when you're quitting something like drinking.
Yeah.
Because quitting drinking is hard as it is, but to do what we do, to be comedians who are out all the time, who's if we're lucky, our work is in a bar where there is endless liquor flowing.
Yeah. We might get a drink ticket.
I know. Like as like, our form of payment. And people get so mad when you use a drink ticket on a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
People get so mad when you do that. Because Joe does that all the time.
Yeah.
Joe will drink like once a year, twice a year, depending,
wow.
Because he just was like, he's a weed guy. That's his thing.
His relationship with booze is mine with weed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And probably the other way around too. But yeah, so he will use his drink ticket on a soda and people will be like, I would have bought you the soda. Like,
yeah.
Again, going back to the deal thing.
Right.
A deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's working out regularly. It's exactly what your brain needs to like get the feel good hormones.
Right.
That the feel good chemicals that the alcohol was providing. on a dopamine level. You know, it's like alcohol was giving you dopamine. The deal with the beer shot combo was giving you dopamine. So, so how did you curtail the eating a pint of ice cream in like the first year of not drinking?
For a while, I was like freezing bananas, and then if I like the voices were really like, let's tonight dough, you know it's there. I'd like blend up bananas and be like, and like frozen bananas and put like peanut butter in it, and it's very good. There's I read something online where it's like there's something in bananas that scientifically makes it very creamy if they're frozen and blended up. So it like actually tasted like ice cream, but then I was just like eating like 4 bananas a day. Like this like sucks in a different way. You know? Like all that fiber and shit.
I did hear that bananas are like nature's Adderall.
Oh yeah. Like they are the best fruit.
Yeah,
I
they
think.
are. I love bananas.
Yeah, me too. So I was doing that for a while, and then it just like I just started feeling less of a need to do it every time.
That is intuitive eating. That's all it is. It's giving in to what you want to eat, not give in, but like satisfying that craving. Yeah. And then once you satisfy it, it like goes down. Your want and desire to do that goes down over time. Yeah. And then one day you'll be sitting around like, oh, I really want those creamy bananas.
And and I can do it. Like the because my like philosophy on like dieting and stuff now is I don't put it like a lot of, I do like I call it like common sense, where it's just like I don't count calories. I don't do that. It's just like, you know, if something's like healthy, and I'm also like, I don't need to be the healthiest person in the world. You know
totally.
Like I don't need to only eat chicken breast. I can have chicken or whatever the fuck, you know. I just don't need to like. Where in the past I was holding myself to like that standard, right? But I on the weekdays I try and operate on that standard, where it's like just like do your best, right? And then on the weekends it's the Wild West. It's like anything goes, like, you know,
no holds barred.
So there's also like that knowledge of being like, oh, I like on the weekend, then I'm gonna like. Then we're gonna cream for sure. You know?
I love a weekend creaming. Okay, so when was the concept of dieting introduced to you? Like, was your first like tackle or tango with dieting when you were in college, or did you grow up in a house where like mom was dieting a bunch? Like, what did that look like?
My parents, Atkins, South Beach, like Weight Watchers. Like I'd known about like the concept of like a diet for years.
Yeah, for the majority of your life.
Yeah, and like as long as I can remember, and like the idea of like being like unhappy with your body, you know. Not that like with me, my parents weren't like, you need to lose weight kind of thing, you know, but just like hearing the way like they talked about their bodies and stuff. It was this idea. Like I remember one time I was on, can I say I was on mushrooms with somebody?
Yeah,
I was on mushrooms with a friend, and we were both on mushrooms, and I said something to the effect, I was like, hey man, you know how everyone hates their bodies? And he was like, what? He was like, what are you talking about?
Well, thank God you were with that friend, because I would have been like, yeah, of course, go on.
And that was truly the first time I was like, not everyone just hates their body, you know? Yeah. So it was like that idea had just like, even though it wasn't directed at me, just very normalized. Yeah. Like from very early.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's so annoying to be a parent. Not that I would know. But it is so annoying to be a parent, because you just existing, living your life is molding your kids into thinking, I need to hate myself.
Right.
you know, and your mom just like, you know, wants to fit into a size 4 dress for a wedding she has coming up.
Yeah, 100%. It's like just by inherently existing, you're going to fuck someone else up. Yeah, you know, it's crazy.
How frustrating.
Yeah, it sucks.
But it's good that they weren't like, you know, you got to change, Bo. You know, you're looking a little chunky. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's a rough road. So the first time that you did, I almost said Ozempic, but the first time that you did Weight Watchers, was that 2 years ago, or had you had spats with that in the past?
Did it for the first time like probably a year after I moved here to New York. and lost a ton of weight.
Oh,
But that was like the second time I like had really like attempted to lose weight. And because I lost a bunch of weight in college and got in really good shape in college and moved here and like kind of had this moment of like, oh, that was unhealthy. I'm going to completely reject it and go in the opposite way almost intentionally.
Right.
And like, I was
Rebel.
like, I'm just going to completely not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And like not think about it at all. Then I gained a bunch of weight again that time. So then I did Weight Watchers again and kind of realized that this is like an unsustainable way to live.
Right. I wanted to ask, when you were doing Weight Watchers and you lost a bunch of weight, were you hungry?
I'm trying to remember.
I remember when I did Weight Watchers a few years ago, I lost a lot of weight, but I was so hungry. Probably because I was putting my points towards alcohol.
Yeah.
That's actually probably what it was.
Because I remember like being like, oh, I feel like, because like a lot of stuff like eggs were like very low to no points or like chicken. Like there was like a lot of stuff that like I felt like I could eat that was like filling.
Right.
You know? But I don't really. So I'd say probably not. But also as a guy, I think you get a lot more points than as a girl.
Yeah, true.
Like I think I was getting like 36 points a day or something.
Yeah, that's a lot
like
of
that.
points. Yeah. So you were doing Weight Watchers, realizing this is kind of like an unsustainable.
Yeah, because I just gained a bunch of weight again, like the second I stopped.
Yeah, that's
know?
what's tough about dieting. And I mean, like what you're describing of like common sense dieting, like imagine that it's working.
Right, because it's like diets like work temporarily. Like when you see people do like carnivore or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, you lose weight, but the second you eat a piece of bread, you gain 30 pounds or whatever, you know? So it's like I was like, it kind of made me like kind of repulsed by the idea of it. Cause it was like, this isn't like a real way to live. Like, I don't want to be like in a prison of Weight Watchers for the rest of my life.
And I think when you look at something like drinking, you know, you've gone a year without drinking now, and I know plenty of people that have abstained from alcohol for X amount of time. They reevaluate their relationship with it and they feel like they can go back. Some people go back for a little bit. Some people stay off of it for forever. I don't know what camp you're in. Have you decided that you're done for life, or what might you dabble?
I think what would happen if I started drinking again, I'd go out and I'd have like 2 drinks. I'd be like, see, look, I did it. And then it would just slowly snowball back into what I was doing before.
So you know yourself, and that's probably what would happen.
That's my hypothesis. I don't want to test it, but my theory is that, like, I don't think it would be, like, overnight, but I think over time I'd fall right back into it.
So that's great that you have that self-awareness. So when we talk about not drinking alcohol, for you, it's like a life thing.
Yeah.
So that probably is part of why you go into health and fitness and dieting and fitness with this mindset, because you already have something in your life that is going to be a lifelong thing. It's going to be a lifelong thing that I'm no longer drinking. So to look at something like dieting and know I can't be in this Weight Watchers thing for the rest of my life. This doesn't make any sense. I feel like that's maybe why you have a good idea of how to have your diet be this thing I can do as a lifestyle.
Yeah, and everything I'm saying is like me at my most logical talking about it, because like the like emotional, more like animal brain parts of myself aren't that way at all.
Right.
Like it's like a constant battle between like the logic and me like really trying to like accept this and be okay with it, because I'm like very like all or nothing when it comes to things like drinking or eating, or it's like, so like eating's like a grand experiment and not like, because in previous times where I've lost weight and stuff, like going vegetarian and like starving myself and like that kind of stuff, it was like I went so far in that direction that I eventually burned out of it. And like, so it's like, it's like I'm able to like say these things, and like so far I've been able to like act on it rationally and like do this like common sense thing and stuff, but I have to like constantly keep myself in check and be like, I'm not like, oh, I didn't go to the gym today, that's fine. And like
Yeah.
have a real like dialogue with myself.
Right,
You know?
because you do have that obsessive, addictive
Mm-hmm.
part of you. So going off of that, have you dealt with mental health struggles like OCD or anything like that?
Yeah, I think a little OCD. I've never been diagnosed, but I talked to my therapist about how I think I'm OCD a lot. And like anxiety, depression, typical comedian
Yeah.
type of like mental health shit, you
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah, your therapist is like, "Oh, I know."
Yeah, 100%.
That's great you're in therapy. Are
Yeah,
you
thank
in
you.
therapy currently?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think that this idea that like only men can vilify and weaponize therapy, it's like, yeah, sure, maybe that happens, but men still go to therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is this like weird, like it's kind of like evolved the like toxic man thing a little bit.
Yeah.
Where now it's like it's almost like toxic to be like over therapized and like
Mhm.
you like kind of like there are like guys who can like pick up on like things therapists say and stuff
Yeah.
and like weaponize it against like women specifically, you know?
People they're trying to control and
Yeah.
manipulate. Yeah. You don't have that vibe
I
at
don't
all.
I like to think so, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, the reason why I asked is just because in the way that you're talking about being all or nothing and like going so far as to be vegetarian to lose weight, like that sounds kind of OCD, obsessive.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah, I can get very obsessive over this stuff, particularly as it relates to like body image.
Yeah.
Shit.
So now where you stand now, where you do have this sort of like relationship with food that sounds to be better, this better relationship with working out, are you comfortable sort of saying where you are with your body dysmorphia?
It's better for sure. I definitely still like have to keep it in check all the time because it's like even today, like I was like, oh, I have like stuff in the morning and I'm doing this podcast. I need to wake up earlier to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Whereas like rationally, it's like, or you could just like take a day off.
Yeah,
but
if you
like,
need to sleep, sleep.
yeah, but I didn't let myself do that today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's better, but I have to like, and I do give myself more grace in that department that I used to. But
Mhm.
even like days like today, I didn't, you know? But like, I am approaching this differently than I have in the past where it's like, I don't stand on the scale. I don't like do that kind of thing. I don't like get obsessed with like a number where it's like, oh, if I lost like 30 pounds initially, but I put on 5 on vacation or something, I don't
Right.
like freak out about it. I'm just like, just trust yourself to like you'll get back in the swing of things now that you're back or whatever.
Great. That's awesome. That's like, again, most logical, most healed self saying this.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
the like best version of myself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but that's good. And like, that's good to reiterate to anyone who would be listening because God, the amount of times I've tortured myself over like going on vacation and like coming back having gained weight. Like, I still have a scale in the house just because I don't know, I have a scale in the house.
Yeah,
but
same.
like, you know, it's like it's definitely not something I'm obsessing over. And
Mm.
it literally has only ever ruined my day.
Oh, 100%.
It's never been good.
100%. Like, and then like I don't think my family will listen to this, so it's fine. But it's like at like Christmas, like my dad will stand on the scale on Christmas morning.
Come on.
And I'm like, why are we doing this now? And then like there'll be like talk in my family of like, we'll like eat healthier on Christmas this year or whatever. It's like, or just like start on New Year's, the fucking
Yeah.
holiday. You know what I mean? It's
like, why do we have to ruin Christmas
yeah,
by eating healthy on Christmas?
yeah,
Like, why can't Christmas be the day where we use real butter and we're enjoying what we want and just being grateful for the fact that we're with our family?
yeah.
You know, why you can do that after the holidays.
Right.
You know?
Like it's like that shouldn't be a driving force of like how these types of events are spent or whatever.
Oh yeah, and I'm saying this based on living with my diet obsessed family and how like we're using I can't believe it's not butter instead of real butter for like the Christmas mashed potatoes, and it's like this isn't Thursday night dinner, this is like Christmas.
This
like,
is Christmas. Let's
you
get
know?
like the good Irish shit.
Yeah,
and, like, let's
Kerrygold.
Yes, 100%.
Mhm.
Great call, by the way. Kerrygold or
it's the
Tillamook. Those are the two.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm a Kerrygold gal, but Tillamook is really good. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, so you were home recently
Yeah.
in the few weeks. Was your family like obsessed with how you look? Were they like, "Oh my God, how'd you do it? You look great," or do they
It
not
definitely came
comment on
up.
you?
Less so than like they used to. There have been certain things within my family dynamic that don't directly involve me that I don't completely feel at liberty to like bring up,
Totally.
involving my sister and my mom. Also,
Yeah.
so it's like a different thing.
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of stuff comes up less now.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
But it
yeah.
definitely still came up, you know.
Yeah.
But it is like I used to like because this also isn't the first time I've seen my family since I've lost weight, you know.
Mhm.
So like the last time I went and saw my family, like I think I was texting my brother like over under on how long it takes my mom to say something, you know.
You like build a bingo board of like common things that are said when you're home, and like commenting on how much weight you've lost is definitely on that bingo board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that? Are you like, "Oh, great, thanks"? Or are you like, "Oh, stop commenting about my body"? Like, how do you feel about that?
I feel like me personally, I'm in like a place where I'm better able to like take compliments or just not like indulge the part of myself that wants to like reject like a compliment. Like when I was a kid, I remember like cooking dinner for my family, and my family would like compliment it, and I'd get like mad at them. I'd be like, I just followed directions. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so I had
Typical
that like
comedian.
Yeah.
Can't take a compliment.
So I have that like thing in me, and now if like someone's like commenting on like my weight loss or whatever, even if I'm like not in the mood to like take a compliment, I can at least be like, oh well, thank you for saying that,
Yeah.
and like kind of like move on from
Right.
it, you know.
Right. Because part of accepting a compliment, even if it's of the variety that like we don't particularly like, because there is like this new effort, don't comment on people's bodies, that has not hit boomers yet.
No.
Hasn't hit a lot of society, but there is this whole thing in receiving a compliment of any kind of like rejecting it is rude, and so
Yeah.
it's like towing that line. And,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, I'm curious because I feel like you probably have some good experiences with this. What was the drunk eating like?
Oh, I mean, this is kind of like an interesting thing because there were like times where it was just like I was like a goat, you know, like
Just eating from a trough?
eating anything. I'll eat anything and eat so much. And then there were times where it was like, oh, I'm drunk and consumed my calories this way. Let's try and like be healthier when I'm
Yeah.
like drunk eating, you know? And like trying to trick myself into like that I'm being healthy, like eating whatever, you know?
Yeah. Okay, interesting. The reason why I asked is because anytime I had been like on a strict diet where when I'm, during the day, obviously sober, not drinking, I'm so good, quote unquote,
Yeah.
good about this diet, meaning I'm not eating enough. And then I go and you get drunk, and you get drunk even faster because you haven't eaten all day.
Yeah.
And then I would wake up with like a empty box of pizza in my bed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's when I was first like, what's binge eating again? Like,
Yeah.
like this my drunk self just like being like, bitch, move over.
Yeah.
Like I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And I realized that if you eat a proper meal before having a few drinks, you don't do that as much.
Yeah.
The drunk eating can get kind of out of control. Oh, sorry, did he?
No, I've kicked my foot down on the dog.
Okay. What other questions were I gonna have for you about drunk eating? I can't. I lost it.
I was a big bodega sandwich guy, though. I still am, but
mean,
like
they're
that
great.
was like my favorite like easy drunk thing. Like
Yeah.
over like pizza or something, it was like
Mhm.
go and get like chopped cheeses or whatever.
So good.
Yeah,
So
it's
good.
still like the best. Whenever I have someone come to New York for like the first time, one of the first things I do is take them to go get a chopped cheese.
I mean, it's a staple. You
Yeah.
have to. Yeah. Then again, that's like one of those things about like vacation eating. Like for that person, it's like you're not eating a chopped cheese every day. But when you're in New York, you better get a chopped cheese.
Oh, 100%. I had like some friends that came to New York, and I showed them chopped cheese, and we had a chopped cheese every day they were in town. It like blew their fucking minds.
Because it's just so good.
Yeah.
So, I feel like you're just as social as you were when you were drinking.
I think so.
You maintained your social calendar. So how is it being out among people drinking? And do you ever get this feeling of like, oh man, I wish I could be them? Or
sometimes it's like, it's never like I'll sometimes be like, I want to have a drink, but like I'm like, I don't want to have had a drink.
Yes.
Like they're like, because like really the type of drinking that I miss is what I say is like the drinking I took for granted. So like a good glass of wine with like dinner, or like a good cocktail, or like something like that, where I was just like binge drinking cheap beer and whiskey at bars, where it's like towards the end of my drinking, I was like starting to like really appreciate like natural wines or like martinis, where martinis are kind of a fucked up drink.
They are.
Honestly.
It's literally rubbing alcohol.
It's crazy. It's so nuts. But it comes in a fancy glass, so people are like, it's okay.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
yeah,
binge
with
drinking in a
juice.
nice glass.
Yeah.
But there are times where I'm like, oh, I want that, but I don't want to have had it. But so like when I'm out like drinking at a bar or at like a party or something, it's not like, oh man, what I would do for like a White Claw right now.
Right,
you know, that
right.
sounds so good.
Right.
But my social battery, while I still think I am very social, it's like it's definitely lower. Like the full charge isn't as like I leave parties earlier now and like all that kind of stuff, where I was like always towards the end. Like I might show up like something for like maybe an hour and be like, I did it. You know?
Yeah. Also, there is that whole thing. Anytime I've been at a bar, at any kind of hang, and I'm not having a drink, I'm just like there for the vibes, and I'm talking to people that are drunk. I'm like, oh, this is me sometimes.
Yeah,
like when
sure.
I'm talking to somebody who's just having a nice conversation, but they're just like talking very closely to my face and like not realizing, or like slurring, you know, and then you know I'll mention that to one of my friends about just like that's the part of it's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't really get like that. And I'm like, but I know that I can. Like,
yeah, 100%. 100%.
It's like, ah, man.
And like the thing I think one of the things I was afraid to stop drinking about was like the ritual of like getting a drink, or like having something in my hands, or even just like going to the bar is like something to do if I feel a little like socially awkward or something.
Yeah.
But they're like at least in New York, everywhere is non-alcoholic beers and stuff.
Yeah.
So I still can like go like talk to a bartender and like order a drink and like sit at a bar and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's still fun to spend money.
Yeah, 100%. I love participating in capitalism.
I'm just participating in the economy.
That's why they give us unemployment checks, baby.
Like a goddamn American. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. What other questions do I have for you? What's dating been like?
It's been fine. This dog is so funny.
What's going on? You gotta relax. Okay, chill. Lay down. He does this thing where he like won't sit. He'll just go back and forth like that.
It's like he's trying to like sit like we are.
He's like, give me a mic. Give me a mic.
I bet this dog would have some shit to say too.
It's just like the most racist thing you've ever heard. Sorry, dating.
It's fine. You know, I think like I thought there would be like less dating when I quit drinking. I think like part of what I was telling myself is like drinking's how I like meet people to date and stuff, which wasn't true at all. You know? So it all my experiences of like dates I've gone on have been like pleasant at least. But like I remember like in the couple months before I quit drinking, I'd be like about to go on a date with a girl and be like I know I'm going to drink more than this person, but I want to keep pace with this person. So I'd go get like a beer shot or like 2 beer shots even before the date. Yeah. So I like still drank as much as I wanted to.
4 drinks before a date. Very casual.
Yeah. What if I told you none of those worked out?
If I had $1 for every.
But it was like, so like I think that was like kind of like avoidant behavior a little bit.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of like my drinking on like dates and stuff was like I don't like feeling vulnerable, and you have to when you're dating. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like I was like going on dates that weren't like, not that they were bad dates, but they weren't like going anywhere with these people,
Yeah.
And I think it's because like I was using like drinking as like avoidant stuff. So now I have to actually like be present on a date, and like
Yeah.
can't like run from that, which I think has been good for me.
Yeah.
But it definitely was something I had more anxiety about like at first.
You can get on stage and tell jokes, but you can't go and
Isn't
meet
that
up with
amazing?
a girl.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like everything you were saying, it is really hard going out on dates, especially when there's that aspect of feeling uncomfortable with your body.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, yeah, this beer shot combo is getting me out of my head, so I'm not thinking about the way this shirt is laying on my torso.
Oh my God, the amount of tugging.
Oh my God, I'm doing it this entire podcast. I can't help it. It's so but it's just hard. Yeah, and so I feel like giving up drinking, that's a lot to that's a suit of armor to have to shed, before going off and being vulnerable on dates. But it is like you do the hard part to get to the easier part because, like you just said, examining that avoidance has been better for you and being uncomfortable on those dates have been better for you.
Yeah, and it's not like I think like I would like to be in a relationship, and I think I thought like when I quit drinking, like stuff like that was gonna like, oh, I quit drinking, so like comedy's immediately gonna work out, and like my relationship hang-ups are immediately gonna resolve themselves, which in the last year has proven not to be the case,
Right.
But I've made more progress, I like to think, on both of them because of that, and also because of like taking better care of myself and actually like not like spending time not trying to be so consumed about like things that I perceived as like flaws in myself and like my body and like disliking myself or whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, he's so
no,
annoying.
I am enjoying him so much.
Totally. When you are have there been aspects of you, I hate this term, but healing journey. Have there been aspects of this healing journey which really, kind of it sounds like what you're on. I mean, to change not drinking, to be in therapy, have there been aspects of yourself that you were like, oh, I didn't realize that was something I was doing? Like were you cognizant of the fact that you were drinking before going out on dates as like I'm nervous, did you have clarity after not drinking of like why you were doing those things?
Yeah, I can't, it happened like pretty quickly, I think, but I remember like being in therapy while I was drinking and like being like, well, I don't think I have a drinking problem because I'm not running from anything when I drink. I just like drinking.
Right.
And then after I quit drinking, I was like, oh, I'm running from everything. I was running from so much I had no idea. It's like driving through the state of Kansas or something, it's like it's just there's so nothing, you can barely tell you're moving,
Right.
where it was like I didn't know that I was like running from like literally all this stuff.
Yeah. It's like a frog in a pot of boiling water. You didn't realize
100%.
that it was happening. Damn. I mean, even just what you were saying about like going out on dates and like keeping pace. Anybody that has a okay relationship with alcohol doesn't factor in a keeping pace
100%
nature.
100%.
Yeah.
It's
or like thinking about what I look like when I'm drinking, or like, if other people are cognizant of the amount that I'm drinking, like that's not something that goes through.
Yeah, they're not thinking about that at all.
Yeah.
And
but I have to say, this is what I meant to say before when you were talking about like taking aspects of drinking for granted, like having that nice glass of wine or having a fancy cocktail, because then it always will go to a 10. so many people that think they have a normal relationship with alcohol do let it go to a 10 after having like a martini with dinner.
Yeah.
Because drinking is just so normalized in our society. I mean, there aren't commercials for cigarettes, but there's commercials for alcohol.
Yeah, and they make it look like sexy
So
and
sexy.
fun
Mhm.
and like I think like I like that alcohol marketing was very effective on me.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like 100%,
Yeah.
where it was like, and I'm not like one of those people, I may sound like this, that's like, oh, drinking's the devil and it's all bad. And like, but like for me, it became that way, you
Yeah.
know? So I don't want to like sound like I'm on like a soapbox about like anti-boozing or whatever.
No,
like
no.
booze is like, a lot of the people in my family like work in the industry,
Right.
which I think is also part of like that also made it feel very normal. Is like it was like my dad, my cousins, like all work in booze.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Whether drinking is normalized or whether drinking is taboo, your relationship with alcohol is going to be the relationship with alcohol. Like
Yeah.
for you, it was normalized. For me and my family, it was very taboo.
oh really?
You know, it just depends. Like, you know, so, yeah, I feel like this dog is going crazy. We're gonna wrap up soon. We're almost at time, but
He's like a clock, just
yeah,
going
yeah,
back
yeah,
and
yeah,
forth.
yeah. I took him for a walk too before this to try to tire him out. That
I can't
didn't
imagine
work.
what
Yeah.
he was like before the walk.
Oh, he was literally spinning around in circles. I thought he was gonna like lift off through the sky like a propeller. Gosh, there was something about that. I forget. It's fine. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on that we didn't?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered it all.
Yeah. Oh, just about what you're saying that you don't want to sound anti-booze. This is a conversation about like your relationship with your body and your relationship with food, and alcohol is in that. And so it's totally fine that your perspective is one of just like alcohol isn't for me anymore and my life is significantly better without it. Because there is something that I've heard about when people talk about quitting alcohol, and if you're thinking about quitting, I've never met someone whose life got worse after quitting drinking.
No, I there's got to be a case of
Yeah.
that, though, right? Like
Well,
there's got to
yeah.
be someone somewhere who quit drinking and then it all fell apart.
Right. But probably not by their own hand.
They're the exception that proved the rule.
right,
So,
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. Now he's settled. He's got his pacifier.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, yeah. Much like drinking as a pacifier, that rawhide bone as a pacifier for him. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you for having me.
and being so candid and talking about, things like body dysmorphia and as a guy, because it shouldn't be taboo. We all have bodies that we hate.
Yeah, I concur. It's one of those things that I've like been very silently passionate about.
Yeah.
It's like that more guys should be talking about this,
Yeah.
because it is like very real, you know, that
Mhm.
like guys have body dysmorphia and eating disorders and all that kind of stuff, and no one talks about it.
I mean, look at manorexia of the early 2000s. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like emo music and stuff. Like every rock guy that I had a crush on was manorexic. You know?
I've never heard that before. Manorexic?
Yeah.
That's okay. Wow.
Yeah. Cool, hip, trendy term for
Yeah,
like a horrible
but you
thing.
said that I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about, though.
yeah.
Like, I can't believe I've never heard that before. That's
oh,
great.
yeah. Totally. Okay. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Bo Ballew.
Bo Ballew.
I believe TikTok is just at Bo Ballew. I couldn't get the same one.
Yeah.
You know? And that's it.
That's
where
it.
I'm at.
Amazing. You can check Bo out. His handles will be in the description of the show. And he's a good follow, especially in your newfound freedom that will be short-lived.
Yeah.
On the life that is unemployment. You have a lot of fun sketches on there.
Thank
Got
you.
some bits.
You're
can
one
check
of the
it out.
dozens who watch. So
Yes,
thank you.
I love it. I feel like I'm in an exclusive club.
Yeah, that's what we're going for.
Oh gosh. Yeah, follow Bo. And until next week, we'll talk to you. Bye.
Bye.